Hey, my name's Femtrooper, and I've always wanted to make a video game channel on YouTube, so I've finally done it. Starting it, it's sort of been a dream of mine, not to do like Let's Play type things, but just to talk about video games, review different video games, I don't know, anything to do with video games, and also geek culture, Japanese culture, things like comics. I love comic books. My favorite superhero is Spider-Man. Anything to do with, like, I also like Japanese music, so maybe bring that into here, and just video games as a whole. Like, I love video games. I was raised on video games, and yeah, oh, and also movies. As you can see, I love movies a lot, and I collect them, more so now Blu-rays, but I have a lot of DVDs, and it goes way up there, and it goes to the floor. Anyway, yeah, so I really like, entertainment stuff, but video games for the most part. Yeah, anyway, so a little bit about myself. I was born in the 80s, so I really just happened to love the 90s, because I was sort of raised in the 90s. And something about the 90s was so great, because to me, for technology, other than, like, different movies and stuff, video games were the thing. And I know they were in the 80s too, but they really, to me, the 90s was the last sort of tail end of the no technology thing, if that makes any sense. Because obviously that I think it does. I think you'll get that. Anyway, because now I think I was one of the last people, sort of last generation, to be born with the whole innocence of video games and no technology, in the sense of no cell phones. Like, there were no cell phones, there were car phones, and that was really cool, because it was like, wow, you can actually talk to someone while you're driving in the car. In general, not like no internet, that didn't exist. So there was something innocent about it. And the first console I ever had was the Super Nintendo. First, I was 4 when I got it. And yeah, I don't know, there's something to me about the 90s that's really great. Obviously, I don't like the fashion from the 90s. Huge fashion person, so sometimes people think that's weird, because it's like, oh, you like fashion and stuff and pop culture, but you also love, like, geek culture too. But you can like both, and I was raised, purely off geek culture, if that makes any sense. So, I guess I can start by saying what my favorite video game is, and that would be Earthbound. And I actually own the box. It's not in the best condition, but I feel like, hey, I at least own it. I own the box. I have the, I don't have everything, like, I don't have the styrofoam inserts to it, but I do have the player's guide that came with it, the huge one, and obviously I have the cartridge. So yeah, this is probably my favorite game. I have a lot of other favorite games, like I love Final Fantasy VIII, for instance. I love Super Mario RPG, that's amazing. So there's lots of games, like Pokemon, the original Pokemon series. Blue was the one I played, but I don't have it anymore, but in general, the Kanto region, fantastic. Yeah, so anyway, Earthbound's great. I guess I'll start by saying, though, that not like a video game collector in the sense that I have 3,000 games, every single console possible. No, I do have lots of consoles, and some people might say a lot of consoles for a girl, which I'm going to try and break the stereotypes of a girl gamer, because I don't play Mama's Bakery or well, you know that game, I don't know, I didn't want to know what it's called. Anyway, I don't play games like that. I don't have, like, Nintendogs or anything, but I play everything from platformers and RPGs, which are my favorite genre, to action-adventure, like Uncharted 2, love the Uncharted series, so good, Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, whatever. I really just love video games in general. As far as consoles that I own, Super Nintendo was my very first console. My very first handheld, which was my second console, was the Game Gear, which is not, I don't really like it. I tried selling this at a garage sale like 10 years ago, and it never went, but I'm glad I kept it, because it's vintage, it's cool, I can't believe I actually own this, because people are like, wow, why do you even have that? But, I don't know, it was the first handheld I ever got, because at the time it was in color, so, I got it because of that versus the Boy, the original one. So I don't actually have the original Game Boy, but I do have a Game Boy Color, which I thought was an amazing console, even though mine's not backlit, which is just very irritating because I've tried playing it recently, and it's like, wow, how did I do this? Anyway, but yeah, this is amazing. Great game selection. The Color, to me, it was not as good as the Game Gear, but it was a way better game selection. RPGs, Pokemon, obviously, different Legend of Zelda, whatever. It was really good. I think I had, Oracle of Ages? I don't remember the one I used to have, but whatever. Yeah, really like this console a lot, and it's so little. When you compare it to the Game Gear, it's sort of night and day. Like, you could put this in your pocket, like the Game Boy Pocket, obviously. This, not so much, and it took too many batteries, like, ridiculous, and it didn't last very long. And then I'm not also huge, like, Sega exclusive, like, I'm not a huge Sonic the Hedgehog fan. I more like the Pokemon characters, like the Donkey Kongs, the Mario games, Pokemon, whatever, Zelda, whatever. I like those games so much, and they're a huge part of my childhood. As far as other consoles, the PlayStation 2, I have that. I have a Nintendo 64, not my original, because I remember selling it to buy the PlayStation 2, which was really stupid. Not stupid at the time, but I was sort of mad that I did that, so I ended up rebuying a Nintendo 64, and I'm slowly trying to rebuild the collection I had, and buy ones I never had, but always wanted, so I do have that. I have all my systems out on display, but I will show you that maybe another day. I have different ones, like I have a Game Boy Advance SP, it's in a little drawer, sort of have my little handheld drawer area, and then I have PlayStation 3, I have a Nintendo Wii, and I believe that's it. So I don't have old ones like Sega Master System, or Intellivision, or a ColecoVision, or anything like that. If I don't have the time or money. If I did, I would own every video game console imaginable. I would have a little museum in my house, but I can't do that, and I don't have the money to do it anyway, so that would take a lot of time and effort to have every single console. And I mean, I'll be honest with you, I don't really want an Intellivision, but hey, I would totally own it if I had the time. So yeah, that's sort of about me as far as the video games I like. What else? I love fashion, so I'm huge into that. I'm not really going to incorporate that into the channel, but if it ever sort of happens to come up, then definitely I'll bring it up. Yeah, I really just love geek culture, and I love Japanese culture as well. I love anime, I love Japanese music, especially Ayumi Hamasaki, who I happened to see live at Countdown Live. For those of you who sort of know about her, they know exactly what I mean by that. It's her New Year's concert. She does the 29th, the 30th, and the 31st. I didn't do the actual 31st one, but I did December 29th, 2011. I was in Japan to see my boyfriend because he's on an exchange, and we did go to Ayumi Hamasaki, which was huge dream come true, so I want to maybe talk about that in another video. So this channel is not going to be exclusively about video games, but a huge part of it, because I love video games so much, and I've always wanted to do a channel just about video games. In general, also ranting about the 90s, because I just love the 90s so much. Not the fashion, but I really, something about it was just it's a cool thing, like, you know, talking about 90s malls, like, people who were fortunate enough to witness that, and some people might think I'm nuts for thinking 90s malls were good, but 90s malls were so fun and ridiculous, and I don't even know how to explain it, but they were just absolutely awesome. So anyway, in general, I love video games a lot. I also want to maybe bring a little bit into the channel the whole girls' perspective on gaming, because I always get mad when people are like, oh, you're a girl and you play video games? It's like, yeah, it's not a gender thing. My parents bought me a Super Nintendo when I was a little kid, and it was like, this is awesome, and didn't matter that I was a girl that I like video games. And I also like games that are more male oriented, like first-person shooters. I really do like Call of Duty. I don't know, something about it. It's just really fun. Another game that I really like, which I might talk about another day, I got this at a pawn shop again, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, yes, as I love the Alien series, like Aliens. I didn't really care for the last two, but I really like the first one, Ridley Scott's version, and I like the second one, James Cameron's. I think I like Aliens better. But anyway, I found this at a pawn shop, and it was like, yes, this is actually fun. It was $10. So again, like, pawn shops, great places to buy video games. But yeah, like, I like these, and it's like just me like shooting people as the alien or the predator. It's super fun. So yeah, I really, really, really like sort of more male-oriented games. But then I like the Final Fantasy types, which a lot of people associate not as masculine. They're not as masculine type games. They're more, I say they're gender neutral because they're not girly because you're like a mage or you're the hero or whatever. But I know lots of girls like Final Fantasy games. But anyway, I do really like that genre. As far as other geek culture things, huge comic book nerd. I like going to comic conventions. I actually have a Spider-Man costume, and it's not one that was bought at, like, like Walmart or something for kids. It's actually, like, it's a Zentai costume. So yeah, I don't know. I'm really nerdy. That was, my boyfriend was a little embarrassed that I wore that to a comic convention. But hey, no one could see who I was anyway. So he was a little bit embarrassed because, anyway, so I really do like, the comic book. I just love geek culture stuff. So, anyway, so if you're interested in any of that, and you also want a little bit of a girl's perspective, because I've been playing video games so long, and all my interests sort of my whole life have always been sort of geeky things. I've always liked anime, I've always liked video games, I've always liked superheroes, so stuff like that. I also like other things, but a huge part of my life is, if someone came to my room, they would know that I have the Amazing Spider-Man edition with Barack Obama, the very first edition of it, and I've never touched it. That's sitting up. I've got Snowy from Tintin sitting on my dresser. I've got all my consoles out. I've got just sort of geeky things everywhere. A Spider-Man poster. So anyway, I just really like that stuff, and I like anything to do with geek culture. So if you're interested in that and you want a girl's perspective, I'd like to bring that in because, again, I'm not a frequent gamer in the sense that I play 8 hours a day, and I don't have 3,000 games or every single console, but I do have enough, and I have lots of vintage stuff, like old Super Nintendo games, because I just love them, and my next find, I really want to find I want to find Street Fighter 2 Turbo. I'm really trying to find that. I don't want to find it online. It's more fun when you find it in the store. So I'm going to try and find that hopefully soon, because I remember, I think my parents bought me Street Fighter. It was the Street Fighter Alpha? I think it was Street Fighter, whatever. They bought me that, and for some weird reason, I said no when I was a little kid, even though we had played it and rented it all the time, because I thought it was too inappropriate. Like, that's weird. Anyway, I don't know why I would say that. It's usually the parents that say it's inappropriate, and instead we bought Donkey Kong Country 3 from this little video store that doesn't even exist anymore. I think now it's an ice cream shop. But just little things like that, the 90s are actually like video game stores everywhere and rental stores everywhere. So it's cool. I'd like to talk about that because it's fun and I think it's nostalgic for other people that grew up in the 90s or 80s and just love video games. So that's all for today. I hope you follow my channel as I will continue to make videos like this. And happy video gaming, and thanks for checking my channel out, and hopefully you will comment and subscribe. See you later!